Tie-Dye Reader.
Halfway Hank by Joe Fallon and Ken Scarborough.
Pictures by Jack E. Davis.
Read by Tie-Dye Reader June.
And Tie-Dye Reader Kristie. Halfway Hank. Halfway to the edge of town, midway down the street, you'll see a lawn that's just half mown and a bike with half a seat. That's where Hank A. Mezzo lives in all his glory. They call him Halfway Hank, and this is his whole story.
Half his room was messy and half of it was neat. Hank always washed his face and ears, but always missed his feet.
Hank was a champ at party games. He wore a half blindfold. Since he counted half his birthdays, he was really twice as old. Hank only wore a single skate. He said, "I don't need more." And while his friends made figure eights, Hank made a figure four. His sister always said that he was weird as weird can be. But Hank said, "I'm not being weird. I'm only being me."
Hank had a halfway of life that no one could undo until the day that fate stepped in at the Walnut County Hoedown Days and old-time barbecue.
Hank joined his sister Demi's team in spoon and egg style races, but using only half a spoon got egg on both their faces.
For the tracking competition, Hank brought half a map, which got their team completely lost. His sister thought she'd snap.
Next, they joined the rowing race in Hank's new half canoe. Demi warned it wouldn't float. He found out that was true.
The square dance contest started fine. Hank danced with lots of style. But since he did just half the steps, the dancers finished in a pile. Demi wiggled, squeezed, and pushed till her head protruded. "If you can't dance like us," she growled, "then Hank, you're not included. You got me bruised and lost and egged, and in a dancer's knot. You shouldn't even try at all. If half is all you've got."
Hank shuffled off. He sighed and said, his voice half full of woe, "The 100-meter dash is next. I know how that will go. I'll run just half the distance, stopping 50 meters short. As everybody thunders by, my sis will laugh and snort." "I'm not like other people," said Hank with half a frown. "I'd like to run away and find some halfway kind of town. A place where semi-dances don't leave people in a stack, and the finish line is always painted halfway down the track."
Then suddenly it hit him like a baseball someone threw. Well, actually it was a ball. An idea hit him too.
Giving up before the race is simply for the birds. Hank found a scrap of paper and he wrote 4 little words.
When Hank approached the starting line, his sis groaned, "Here comes trouble. He always does things halfway, but he'll lose this on the double."
"On your mark," the judge announced. "Get set. He fired the gun. It went bang. The runner sprang. All, that is, but one.
Well, the other runners raced crazily. Stampeding, Hank stood at the starting line, coolly, calmly reading.
"What's he doing?" someone cried. 10 yards down the track, Demi and the others tried to run while looking back.
Suddenly, Hank blasted off into a whooshing run, and in a flash he passed the other runners one by one.
Demi wasn't worried by Hank's speeding cheetah's pace. She knew he'd reach the halfway point, then stop and lose the race.
But when he reached the halfway mark, Hank passed it like a missile. The judge was so surprised, he blew his nose and picked his whistle.
Hank didn't stop. Hank didn't pause until he broke the tape. Hank won the 100-meter run. The crowd went simply ape.
Hank's sister finished second, then got right in his face. How on earth could you have finished more than half a race?
"I did run half a race," cried Hank. He showed her how he'd won. The note that Hank had written said, 200-meter run. Even though she'd lost to Hank, Demi cracked half a smile, because he'd found a way to play in his own halfway style. Halfway to the edge of town, midway down the street, you'll see a lawn that's just half mown and a bike with half a seat. Look closely, you'll see one proud sister and one winning brother, half a trophy in one room and one half in the other. Tighter reader.